Oh, yeah. We finally made it, guys. It has been so long since I have been able to grab this microphone and speak to you all. I'm so grateful that I finally get to do it. And thank you for being so patient throughout the last few months. As I mentioned, if you missed it, I moved. Obviously, I'm in a much different place now, and I'm still working out some of the kinks, but there's going to be quite a few changes to the podcast, and I wanted to make this very short video. One, to give you a obvious first look at the new podcast studio that I'm so excited to have. My wife and I built this studio together, and I couldn't be more happy. I've got Batman and Deadpool watching over us, and they're going to be there until they basically just fall over. We'll see how long that lasts. But right now, I'm just so excited to announce some of the changes. First thing is going to be I'm going to hold this now because I'm an idiot and didn't realize that the sound would be so much better if the microphone was just closer to my face. Even though I've sung in choir and been a PA for years, and you'd think that I would know that, and I do know that, but I'm just really dumb. And so I didn't put two and two together there. So I will be holding this microphone. I don't know how I'll be holding it because my arm already hurts. So this is going to be unfortunately difficult to figure out. No, obviously I'm just kidding. But I'm very excited to have that, to have some adjustments. Mainly, okay? Here are the main differences that you guys are going to see, okay? The important stuff, other than holding a microphone in a different way that you guys don't give a rat's behind about, okay? I have never claimed to be an expert on editing or on, art, and putting these kinds of videos together. And you would know that if you watched my videos for 11 seconds. I'm not great at all of that stuff. I'm good at this part. I'm good at talking. I'm good at conveying my ideas. What I'm not great at, I'm working on. So I'm actually going to start uploading my podcasts every single Thursday at 5 p.m. now. So it used to be on Fridays. Now it's going to be on Thursdays. Why is that? The reason is multifold. One, just because my schedule has changed a little bit. My job is the same, but the hours are a little bit different. So I have some more time in the afternoons usually, unless I have to stay late. To do some more stuff. And then also, there's just some other things that I have gotten into in life. I'm, hopefully going to be doing things in the middle of the week, pretty much every single week. And so what I wanted to do was give myself several days to edit the podcast now. And if you guys are hearing a little bit of raspiness in my voice, I am just getting over a cold, and I'll go over some of the details and stuff as to what's been happening in my life over the last couple of months as to why I've been gone for so long. But again, I just wanted to start with the changes because I'm sure that's why you guys clicked on the video. So yeah, I wanted to give myself a couple of days to edit and record, and to give you guys some clarification. Obviously, the podcast would come out every Friday, and what I would do is I would record on Thursday. And the reason I would record every Thursday is because I wanted the podcast to be as up to date as possible. I talk about sports, I talk about current events, and oftentimes, I can say something in a video that is, 2 days later, virtually completely irrelevant. For instance, right now as I'm recording, the Clippers have not won a game since James Harden was traded to them. Now, I say that right now. I don't have a specific day as to when this is coming out. It should come out by the end of the week. But I am... what happens if I don't even know, they might be playing tonight. If they win tonight, that's completely irrelevant, right? So it's just one example. And so that's why I recorded so late in the week and had it, so quick in between. And when you have really no time. I was recording these at 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, maybe 6 if I was lucky. And obviously you guys know they'd last an hour and a half, and obviously it takes more than an hour and a half of recording usually to put these together. Sometimes I'd have to start over. Sometimes I'd have to stop because there was lightning or thunder that messed with the microphone. Like, you just never know what's going to happen, and that's not including editing. Editing can take 3 to 4 to even 5 times as long as it takes to make the video, depending on what kind of edits I'm doing, obviously. And so, I tried to I had to simplify it. I had to simplify and just do basic cuts and just basic little things to make it look a little sharper, but really there wasn't a whole lot of editing going on. I'm hoping that I will be a little bit better. If I give myself more time, I can sink more time into it. I can be a little more creative. I can try things. And we're going to see what works. It's not going to be perfect at the beginning. Heck, it might not even be good at the beginning. I'm going to try my best, but, that's something that you guys can look forward to. Another thing that's going to be different is the aesthetics. Obviously, the first thing that you notice is a new podcast studio, whole new lighting, whole new acoustics. Obviously, the microphone is still being held. I'm going to just keep harping on that because that's the one thing I know I can do right. It's going to be so much more vibrant and upbeat and a lot more me. I mean, you guys know I'm positive. I try to be happy. And even when I get upset, I'm usually very, energetically upset. Very mad or just, right? So I'm very excited for you guys to kind of just feel the new vibe of the podcast. The aesthetics are going to be different. The logo is going to be different. The music is going to be different. The thumbnails are going to be different. It's all going to be different. I promised a rebrand, and I'm doing my very best to deliver a rebrand. Now, is it going to be perfect? Of course it isn't going to be perfect, but we're certainly going to do our best over here to give you guys everything you deserve, and just hopefully the hard work's going to continue to pay off over time, and hopefully more and more people are going to enjoy this. And speaking of more and more people going to enjoy this, another major thing that the podcast is going to be doing, I don't even know if this person knows it yet. Hopefully I have communicated this to them. But this podcast is, I don't know, oftentimes, sometimes, it's going to depend, but this podcast is now going to sometimes have a co-host. And I'm so excited about it. They're not going to be in person in the studio with me, unfortunately. They're going to be via Zoom or via some other, virtual link or room or whatever, video. But either way, I'm so excited. There's actually footage that we recorded for probably a good 2.5, 3 hours, just kind of brainstorming and figuring things out. And I never released it because there's just a lot of things that went on in my life that did not allow me to do that. So, and again, I'll get into that in a little bit, but yeah, I'm going to have a co-host sometimes when it comes to sports stuff. And this person's very knowledgeable. They are really, really a big fan of the podcast. Truly, I was surprised. And the best part is that none of you guys are gonna be able to tell me who it is, because they have not been on the podcast, nor have they been mentioned ever on the podcast to my memory. So I'm very excited. Hopefully they're very excited. They sounded excited, last time we spoke, but we'll see. I know I'm very excited. That's what matters, right? And again, hopefully you guys are going to be excited to get some more variety, get some other opinions on the podcast here, and just kind of really go in and dive deep into other topics, other fun things that we haven't necessarily been able to fully explore because you're only hearing my opinion. And while, my opinion is my opinion, and I think that all opinions are valid, I would say that, sometimes it's good to have perspective on things. Now, some other changes that are going to be happening. I mentioned the co-host, okay? Now, I am also going to be bringing in some more guests, okay? The guest videos are some of the most fun to shoot. They're also some of the most difficult, but you know what? They're some of the most fun, and that's really what matters. And so, I'm going to bring in some more guests. We're going to have a lot more people coming on the podcast, hopefully. That's the plan anyway. I've got to line everything up, but obviously, we're going to try different things, right? And the best part is we're going to have a little bit more variety on the podcast as to what we do. For pretty much the entirety of its existence, this podcast has been a lot of Boston sports, MLB, NBA, NFL, some current events, all that good stuff in the three major sports. But the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, before I ended up moving and then kind of settling in with everything, I put out some wrestling quizzes to kind of test the waters and see if you guys liked it. And honestly, I'm not really sure. I did get some messages from some people saying that they enjoyed them. And so that's nice. Obviously, there are some people who enjoyed it. I don't know, numbers wise, I'd say that they were middle of the road. So really, I didn't draw too much conclusion for it. But I have somebody that actually does live here in Greenville that wants to start doing some more wrestling videos for my podcast and wants to help out. And so guess what? That's what we're going to do, guys. We are going to start talking about wrestling sometimes. It's not going to be all the time. It's not even going to be the main thing, not even close to it. At least that's the plan. But we're going to, do some deep dives. We're going to start talking about some wrestling stuff. We're going to record. We're going to talk about upcoming pay-per-views, match predictions, all that stuff. So guess what? If you liked the wrestling content that I had on here, then great, because you're going to get more of it. If you didn't like it, that's okay. We're going to still have current events. We're still going to have plenty of Boston sports. We're still going to have all the stuff that I had before, but just also some wrestling content. So, I'm really excited about it. It's something that I've kind of wanted to do for a little while, but I've been a little bit weary because, the audience isn't necessarily for wrestling. But honestly, I got to be perfectly, again, honest with you guys. I think wrestling might be the thing I know the best. It might be. Now, basketball, baseball, football, I'm very knowledgeable in those three sports. Especially working in the football industry, I feel like I'm pretty knowledgeable in that, and I watch basketball as often as I can, and then I played baseball for 20 years. So guess what? I'm pretty knowledgeable in all three, got to be honest with you guys. But I think wrestling is the thing that I am the most comfortable with talking about, the most historically, all the way even back to, the 70s. After before that, it gets real murky, but the 70s forward, I'm pretty good. So I'm really excited to show you guys what I'm capable of and talk about wrestling sometime. So again, hopefully you guys are excited about that. I am. I know the person who's going to help me out is, and I'm not revealing anybody. I'm not revealing any of their names. Hopefully it'll be organic and you guys will watch the videos to find out. So very, very excited about that. Let me see. What else do I need to talk about? Oh, duh. Me. I need to talk about me. No, not talk about me, but kind of talk about me. So where have I been? What's been going on? So obviously I moved to a different apartment, not super far away from where I was, about 15, 20 minutes away, but, definitely upgraded. I obviously you guys can see that there's no kitchen or dining room table behind me. There's no occasional, I guess it would have been over here, I think. Somewhere in like that area of the frame. No occasional trash cans. That's good. No door over here. So that's great. And the best part is that while I do have windows, I live on the very edge of our building, and so nobody walks by over here. I mean, nobody walks by. I have a door. Guys, I have a door. My wife can sleep while I'm recording. It's really nice. So I've really upgraded here. So, I've got my own space, and so that's really fun, but Anyway, like I said, I moved, and then things just kind of get crazy when you move, and I really wanted to make, and I still do, obviously. I want to make this kind of reboot of the podcast worth it, because as much as I love doing it, I do have to make money. I do have to focus on things that take care of myself and my wife and our future family whenever that does happen. We're just, it's hard to prioritize sometimes when you're not, when you get a couple of views, and I've said a million times I would do it for one person, and I'm gonna keep doing it, but it can get hard to prioritize when there's no monetary kind of push behind it, and there's no growth, or not much growth anyway, behind it, and so it can get tough. But I still wanted to make it work because I love doing this. I love kind of getting to speak to all of you, even if there's not a whole lot for any one given video. Whatever it is, it's fine with me. It's an hour and a half a week that I don't have to talk my wife's head off about stuff she doesn't care about. Like that works for me. So I wanted to really make it work. I wanted to really make it good. And so I got outside help. I asked a friend whom I will probably do a longer thank you to publicly on another video. I don't think this is, this is already, getting long, and it's almost, I've been recording. This shouldn't be edited too much. I've already been recording for somewhere in the, 15 to 20 minute range here. So, I'll probably do a more public thank you to this person at a later time. But, this person had a lot of things going on in their life. They stepped up and they really, really helped out. They did the graphics. They did the opening intro to everything. And I'm so grateful that I got that help, because I wouldn't have been able to do it by myself. I did do parts of it, and again, you'll see this on future videos, so don't worry. Very, very excited. You'll I promise you'll see it, and hopefully you'll like it. And if you don't like it, then fine, take that out on me. Don't take that out on the person that ultimately made it, because I love it. I think it's fantastic, and I think it's infinitely better than what we had before, and what my wife and I were using at the time. We used the tools that we had available, and we realized that wasn't necessarily good enough, and so we asked somebody who had better tools, basically, to help us out. And so I'm very, very grateful to that person. And again, I'll do a longer thank you at some point to them, and at that point I'll probably say at least their first name, so that they can get the recognition, or at least some of the recognition that they deserve, but obviously without doxing who they are and what's going on with them. So, but a lot of stuff going on in their life, and so I wanted to hopefully be done by the time I went on my anniversary cruise, which was in late October. Obviously we're in mid-November now, and ended up coming back, and then they had moved to a different state. And so it was like, oh crap, what are we going to do? Able to get a hold of them, able to kind of, have a conversation about where they were at with things. And luckily they were 99% of the way done with everything. It just took longer than what either of us were hoping or anticipated, because again, life strikes. You do different things. And I know that this person, I'm not going to, again, list everything that they were having going on in their life, but I told them that I should not be a priority for this. I really shouldn't. It's not responsible for that person to look at a podcast for a friend or a coworker, and instead of, basically taking all the next steps in their life that they should be. I didn't want to prioritize that for them. So it just took longer again than what I wanted and what they wanted, but it got done. It got done on, I think, November 3rd. Got done. It was last Tuesday. So a week from today it was done. I guess later than the 3rd then. What would that be, the 7th? something like that. I think it's the 14th. It's somewhere in that range. So somewhere, early November, it got done. And no joke, that night, I got sick. That night, I was sick. I was gonna make this video a week ago, and didn't happen because I got sick. And when I get sick, the first thing that goes is the throat. That's the first thing that goes. I lose my voice. It hurts to swallow. I'll have no other symptoms, and it'll just have a sore throat. I'll think I'll have strep throat for like 3 days before I get fully blown sick, right? So I got sick, knew I wasn't going to be able to record because I was going to sound like this, and then nobody wants that. I had to wait until my voice came back, and luckily now, today, my voice is pretty much back to 100%. I'd say it's at like 90%. And it's a little bit raspier than it has been throughout the day because my job, I talk on the phone a lot, and I've been recording for now 20 minutes or so. So, yeah, my voice is a little tired, but that's okay. And so again, this was a week delayed from what it was supposed to be, once I got the stuff. But we are here now, and that's what matters. I'm super excited. I've said that probably 430 times. I know, I'm sorry, but it's true. And I hope you guys are too. I hope the people that are going to come on the podcast are excited. And I just really can't wait to dive into more things, talk about, all the stuff that I haven't been able to talk about, or at least some of the stuff I haven't been able to talk about. There's been a lot of stuff happening in the world of sports that I didn't get to talk about for the last few months. And it just, I'm not going to be able to cover all of it, but I'm going to hopefully be able to cover some of it. And there's going to be a lot of other things that I'll talk about in the future that, that I'm aiming to do, but they're going to be a little more difficult for me because, it's going to take more time. It's going to take more energy. I don't know if I can deliver on those promises. So I'm going to put myself in a position where I either don't feel I need to promise it and I'll just give it, or I will definitely be able to fulfill a promise if I make it. That's what I'm going to try to do. So stay patient with other updates, but my goodness, thank you guys so much for waiting. Thank you for understanding and being patient. And thank you guys for riding this thing out with me. And hopefully, I don't know how long I'm going to be in this studio. It's another apartment. And so, life can take you in a million different places. So, in 8 months or 9 months, I might be moving again. Who knows? But, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. If I could get words out instead of just saying will or we will 39,000 times in a row. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. And again, thank you guys so much. And get excited because Lopes Goes Last is back and better than ever.